Good morning, Periscope viewers. If you are a replayer, you can participate by tapping on the screen for hearts. You can share, you can follow me, you can find me on Twitter or Snapchat if you have any questions that I didn't get to answer, or you just want to give a shout out, or you just have any personal finance questions because you're stuck and you don't know. For everybody else that's joining. Good morning. All right. If you're new to me, let me just do an introduction. My name is Joannazarach, and I broadcast every single day, 7 days a week, 7 days a week at 10 a.m. Central. So why do I do this? When I first decided to do Periscope, I decided that the most important thing when it comes to finances is developing good habits. And so my Money Habits broadcast is all about taking care of your money every single day. And the reason I advocate, hi, thank you for the hearts. The reason why I advocate that you develop a good habit is because habits are actually a lot easier than things that you do occasionally. So if you just start doing something, oh, thank you for joining and thank you for the support. If you do it as a habit, it doesn't become like something you dread or something you have to do or it gets on your to-do list. Like managing my money is not on my to-do list. Ooh. That's a good one. Managing money is not on my to-do list because it's a habit. It's just something I do, like checking your email or your Facebook. In the era of digital, there is really no excuse for you not to have money habits. So I talk about different topics every single day, and on Fridays I talk about fees. I think that people underestimate the impact of fees, and fees are anything that you pay, that sort of the money that you pay out that doesn't buy you anything that you need, whether it's credit card fees, late fees, just fees, parking fees, if you get a ticket, like things that you pay where you're like, wait a minute, I just separated myself from my money and I didn't get anything in return that I value, right? No one values fees. Like you're not getting a satisfaction out of it. So I'm trying to get people like get their head around like how to avoid fees. There's a variety of fees. Let's see, I was doing my introduction, I went on of Money Habits. So yeah, I do a Money Habits broadcast every day at 10 a.m. and then I do a 5 p.m. broadcast on Tuesdays and Fridays. So today I'm going to do a 5 p.m. broadcast on money matters. And I want to get back, I wanted to get even a little bit more tactical when it comes to investing. I think getting started as an investor, getting an investor mentality, and just overcoming your own objections to why you're not an investor. Like everyone needs to become an investor. Our current social structure in terms of where money is being moved around, where money is being offered, everyone needs to become an investor. It is really, really important because pension plans are going away. Social Security may or may not be there, but it's not going to be adequate. So ultimately, we are structured in such a way that everyone already is an investor, whether they know it or not. It's just whether you're actively participating and taking control of it. So in my Money Matters, I'm going to talk about some practical stages, like stages of being an investor and what you really need to focus on. So we'll talk about, 3 or 4 stages. That's at 5 p.m. Central. Okay. But what's the topic of today? I think what I want to talk about is the fear of making mistakes, or fear of mistakes. Fear of mistakes is the number one thing that keeps people away from managing their money. Like we are not giving proactively enough information about how to manage our money, that people are really, really afraid. They're afraid of math. They're afraid of like opening an account and not getting it right. They're afraid of picking a bad stock or picking a bad index fund, which is what I recommend when you first started. And that fear keeps you inactive, and you're paying because of time and compounding. You're paying a fee. You just don't realize it. Every time you let someone talk you out of it, or yourself most likely, every time you let doubt seep into your ability to actually take financial action in your life, you're paying a fee. There is something that's happening with your money, with your net worth, every single day you delay it. And, we talk a lot about the fear of missing out. I want to inspire people to have a fear of missing out when it comes to money. I want you to go, shit, I am missing something. I am missing something here. I need to take action, because all fear of missing out does is gets you out of your comfort zone, right? It gets you to go and participate. It gets you to sign up. You're like, oh, everybody's doing it. Like maybe I'm missing something and I want to participate. The same should come when the same thing should happen when it comes to money. You and I and everyone needs to go, I am missing out. I'm missing out on something. And so that is something that I want you to think about. What is your fear, right? Like when it comes to money, identify your fear. And they're going to be different at different stages, right? When you're starting out and when you're in debt, for example, you're going to have like fear of collections, right? It's real, like collections, people calling you, and it's like fear of just mayhem and fear of running out of money. And then when you finally get to the place where you're like, okay, I got all this under control, maybe you have a steady job or some way to make income, and you got some things under control, then you're like, you don't want to go back in it. And again, investing, taxes, I feel like taxes are really scary for people. And I really would love for more people to come to the point to make taxes less scary, to make the math behind money, which, by the way, you do very little. Most things about money are about like being consistent and using a bunch of systems that already do the math for you. Like I have not done tax math in, I don't know, like 15 years. I used to do it like pencil and paper, like back in the day when your only option was like paper forms. But you don't have to do the tax math. Like my dad this week says like, oh, he retired, and he's like, I have all these new forms. I'm afraid to make a mistake. And I'm like, I'm just going to enter it for you in TurboTax. Like I don't have any magic. Like I just follow the instructions. I trust the systems that are out there and that are reliable. So that's really the thing, because the more you prevent yourself, because you're really preventing yourself from taking the leap. And like, you can't wait. Like the other thing is, I don't want people to wait until someone takes them by their hand and takes the fee from you. Like every time someone's going to offer you services, there's going to be a fee associated with it. And I want you to empower yourself to start before you're ready, right? Start before you're ready. When it comes to money, whatever it is, you start before you're ready. Everything in life, by the way, if you start before you're ready, by the time you're ready, you would have gained a lot of experience, right? So you're like, oh, I'm just not ready to make a budget. Okay, just like then get a Mint account. Like you don't have to do budget, but set it up. Like take action before you feel you're ready. If you're, and the different people learn differently, right? If you want a class, seek out the class. If you want mentorship, seek out a mentor. Don't be afraid to use a free consultation and then just like tell yourself, I'm not going to buy this service, but I'm going to ask someone. If they're legitimately like a good advisor and they have your interests at heart, they're not going to be upset about it, that you don't buy their services right away. They're going to be willing to share their knowledge. But the thing is that when you're starting out of any of the paths on a money path, like you need to put it on yourself to take action, because otherwise you're paying a fee of inaction, and that fee is very, very grand. If you ever looked at those charts that show like investing over time and the people who start investing early with a very little bit versus the people who start 10 years later when they're ready. Oh, I'm ready now. I'm 30. I'm ready. I'm 40. Oh, I'm 55. I want to retire in 10 years. I'm ready now. When you wait till you're ready, you've paid a tremendous fee of all the time that you've just spent not doing it. And you can start small. You can start and making some mistakes at the beginning. It's still better than waiting, right? And yeah, I'm trying to keep you from making like what I call fatal mistakes. I'm trying to get people to avoid from like making fatal mistakes, like buying product that are just not appropriate, that are like, don't know anyone who's ever like gotten wealthy by purchasing this type of product. So really trying to get people to get them on the right path, but to like take some of the fear away, because you're really going to pay a fee. And I've done it a lot of times. There are times where I've not taken action, and it's not that I regret it. I try to take action as soon as I can. After that, where I'm like, what's stopping me? And then just like muddle. I'll muddle my way through it. And that's better than saying, well, in 2 years when I'm ready, I'm going to get started. So get started with managing your money, with, whatever stage you're at on this like financial journey, making a budget, earning more, spending less, taking that once you pay off all your personal debt, take that extra money and start investing, and know the tax favored accounts. And then you're on your way, because like then 5 years later, when you're looking back and you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know a ton, but I just got started. And all of a sudden you're 5 years in and you're so much better off. So, the fear of making a mistake is real, and the fear of mistakes, but turn it and instead start using the fear of missing out when it comes to money, and financial management, because the time and compounding really matter. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be. So in about a month, I just signed up yesterday, next month, to teach my local 6th to 8th graders. I just volunteered. I said, here, they were like looking for classes, and they like listed all of these possible topics to teach these kids, and none of it had finance or money or management or even business, like starting a business. And I'm like, I want to teach the kids about personal finance. I don't know the level of interest that I'm going to get. But I don't care. If I can just touch one person, one kid, to get him to understand how money works, how money works in our society, how money works in the capitalist, in capitalism, how compounding works, how interest, like the credit card is not free money. That's the most expensive money you can get, right? Like all of these concepts, if I can lay that foundation and give them that little voice in their head that goes, that one time that one lady talked about this, and I should ask a question, or I should think about it, or I should try to do the math, or I should Google this, right? Like the knowledge is out there, and you're not getting it from your parents, right? If you're struggling and your parents were struggling and your grandparents were struggling, you are like, that's what you've been taught. You've got to break the cycle of struggle, of poverty, of just being in the middle. You can do that. You can do this. And you can sort of capture. You don't have to, again, go into finance. You don't have to be a hedge fund person to accomplish those things. You have to have a certain, you have to accept the math, the compounding, and the historical stats to see that you can really do it. And you'll actually start seeing results. Again, I think results, you can start seeing results if you do apply some habits and some of the advice that I give in about 12 months. You start seeing some things, like the other things is you start measuring it. That's why I focus on net worth, not just the cash flow, because some of the things you're going to do are going to limit the amount of money you have to spend. That's the whole point. If you limit the amount of money you have to spend, because you've invested it, all of a sudden you're learning to live with less, right? And but it does come with some form of self-discipline, but it's important. So whatever your fears are from making a mistake, it's a fee you're going to pay. It's a fee you're going to pay to your future self in how quickly or how early you can build net worth. Because I'm all about accumulated wealth. I'm all about taking your hard-earned money and getting some of it to build a foundation for your financial independence and your financial freedom. So quit paying the fees of inaction, and instead of having a fear of mistakes, start having a fear of missing out when it comes to money and finance, and leverage that. Be like, you know what? I want to be part of the solution, and I want to participate in this, so that you can get on that path and see the difference in 12 months, see the difference in 5 years. Start projecting, right? Start expecting to do better. Start expecting to have a higher net worth, and then work backwards and say, what's it going to take? But you need to take those actions. But I'm here to guide you through them, to make sure that you're making as good of a decision as you can, because it's all personal at some point. Like, you got to pick, you're going to have to pick between things, right? A bigger house or more money in the bank, right? Like, those are the decisions you need to make, but I want you to make them consciously and say, you know what, I am willing to commit myself to this type of job for the next 10 years, because I really feel like, 3,500 square feet is going to improve my life so much more than 1,500 square feet. Even though, by the way, studies show that's not true. It's actually look and say, has anybody ever been happy because they had work really much harder for a house they didn't spend any time in because they're working so much harder all the time? So things like that, make the conscious sacrifice, make the conscious conscious choices versus just kind of following through a path that someone else is leading you on. Is to pick your path and start walking towards the vision that you have for yourself. So, all right, that's it. That's it for today. Because I'm going to be on again at 5. Yeah, and it's hard. That's right. I tell, and it's hard to fix. Like I've told my husband time and again, you and I suck at home maintenance, and yeah, like it takes cleaning ladies. Like if it's a deep clean, it takes them about 6 hours to clean this place, and it's 1,600 square feet. Fear of missing out. So that's like a terminology that's used, you know, when people like do things because they're afraid they're going to miss out. So instead of like, and fear of mistakes is what I've made up. So you should all have a fear of missing out when it comes to wealth building and money management. Yeah, like go, wait a minute, am I missing something? You are, you know, you're probably missing it. You got to budget, you got to track your money, and you got to start investing. And really, I'm trying to encourage everyone. I think that's really the bottom line. I want everyone to become an investor, because an investing gives somewhere else for your money to go. And that's really the anchor point. But I'm going to be on at 5 p.m. Central on Money Matters, and I'm actually going to talk about investing, like what you need to I'll go through a few stages of investing, like when you're first getting started, what you need to think about, when you reach your first $100,000, and some of you are like, you are crazy, that's going to take forever, never going to get there. But see, that's the thing. I want you to like realize, like, max out your 401k, and in 3 years, on 4 years, you'll be at 100,000, right? Like, then what do you need to think about? You know, so when you reach your, you know, again, 0 to 10, maybe, not really. I think 0 to 100 is the same. So getting started when your net worth's at $100,000, and then when your net worth's, you know, probably at like 250, $500,000, and then over $1 million, because I think some people start thinking about shit they shouldn't be thinking about. Like, don't worry about that. Like, really, don't worry about it. Like, build your like investing, build your saving rate muscle first before you start worrying about alternative investments and tax, you know, like all the other stuff that I talk about. Like, these are the things you need to do in stages. So we're going to talk about stages of investing on Money Matters at 5. So tune in again, or if you're following me, you can catch it on the replay if you can't join live. And again, I'm on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. So I'm trying to build my presence, and also Snapchat. I'm like really just experimenting with Snapchat. I don't have an audience, right? So it's not like I can drive people to it, but I try to like, you know, share a bit more on Snapchat and just discovering how it works. And eventually Snapchat will be a thing that's more common. It's not, same like Periscope. Periscope's still very, very small, but in compared to like what it will be in a year or two. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your time, for your participation. And of course, what I really want you guys to do is to start making small changes in your financial habits and your money management and your mindset. And, you know, a year from now, we're all sitting around going, wait, you know what? My net worth did change. I took all these steps and I got there, because it's like I'm trying for you guys to apply proven strategies and all the things that I've learned over the last 20 years and really apply it, because I'm not trying to sell you like anything crazy, like, oh, if you just do this one thing, you're going to be, you know, like borrow money and you're going to get rich, like some other financial gurus occasionally sell. So get rich slowly. But do it purposefully and do it over time, and do it, you know, again, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to get started. So I'll see you guys at 5. We're talking about investing and how to get started investing, and what you really need to start thinking about when it comes to your stage, which stage you are in your investment maturity, really. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you again for joining. I'll put it to an end.